Hi, how's everybody doing today? My name is Kyle Pearsall, and I'm doing my final presentation on the Federal Aviation Administration and its failure to oversee, particularly the company Boeing, which had the aircraft, the 737 MAX plane, which was involved in the two deadly plane crashes in a 5-month span. To just kind of give you a little background, the FAA is administration is responsible for regulating and overseeing all civil aviation within the United States and within its international waters. Both of the deadly crashes occurred because of the same automated error in the aircraft, which forced the plane to nosedive shortly after takeoff. Investigations found that the FAA allowed Boeing to basically self-certify many of its the components of the MAX 737, which is a huge conflict of interest. On my next slide, I have a graph which shows the two vertical speeds of the two different airplanes, and it basically just shows how similar the crashes occurred, and it just proves that the two crashes were involved by the same automated error. Moving on to my next slide, I have some more background information. The FAA's failure oversight actually started back in 2005 because they created a program called the Organizational Designation Authorization, or ODA program. This program gave a lot more power to companies such as Boeing in approving the safety of the aircraft. It was kind of a win-win because Congress would have to pay less money on overseeing these aircrafts, and at the same time, the aircraft manufacturers such as Boeing would be able to certify aircrafts at a much faster rate and improve efficiency. And a big reason why this program really got approved is because these aircraft companies pay millions and millions of dollars lobbying for that. And I think it's a huge conflict of interest, and it puts profits over the safety of passengers, in my opinion. Moving on to the next slide, civil aviation administrations all over the world grounded the plane shortly after the two crashes. However, the FAA was the very last administration to ground the plane, in my opinion, because of the close relationship it had to Boeing. The FAA rushed to approve the MAX 737 plane to allow Boeing to catch up to its competition, which is Airbus. And a great quote from the Seattle Times states, "As Boeing hustled in 2015 to catch up to Airbus and certify its new 737 MAX, the FAA managers pushed the agency's safety engineers to delegate safety assessments to Boeing itself and to speedily approve the resulting analysis." Moving on to the next slide, the argument for the FAA to give all this power to Boeing is that it lacked funds and resources to oversee every little process in the manufacturing of a plane. With delegating more oversight to Boeing, it allows them to be more efficient, it saves the federal government more money, it allows Boeing to be more competitive with foreign companies. Lastly, nobody wants a safe plane as much as Boeing does. Any quality company wants to put the best product out there, and the two plane crashes cost Boeing billions of dollars just within this year. In conclusion, the FAA failed to oversee the making of the 737 MAX plane, which caused the death of 346 people. The FAA delegated too much responsibility to Boeing in overseeing its own aircraft, which is a conflict of interest. The FAA must change the way it oversees aircraft manufacturing in the future by paying more attention to detail and slowing down the manufacturing process, even if that means losing profits. Some questions I have, guys, is who should be accountable for the two deadly crashes? Is it the FAA for failing to oversee Boeing, or is it Boeing itself because are they the ones who made the aircraft? Is it a combination of the two? And should the FAA change the way it oversees aircrafts? And if so, how should it change in the future. And that is my report, guys. I'm looking forward to the discussion.